Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to another stream with me, King. I know it's been a while since we did one of those, but I have been so busy recently. But here we are again. So much has changed in the market since then. How are you guys all doing? Hey Richard, what's up, man? How are you? So, how do you guys feel about the current situation of the market? Now, I know what I think because I'm going to be talking about it in details today. But I want to know, what do you guys think? Hey Hamza, what's up? Well, I'm glad you do, Richard. You really benefited from those two, right? Hey Kusa, I think BTC is going up. It's just a matter of time. I think so too, Hamza. But there is something that have been concerning me recently, and we'll be discussing this today. Actually, a big part of the reason why I decided to go live today is because of the recent move of Bitcoin that have been like this one in the past 2, 3 days. I'm not so happy about what's going on, to be honest. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys hear me well? Please let me know in the comments at any point if you can't hear me, because last time we had some difficulties and I was speaking for some time without anyone hearing me. So let me know in the comments at any point. I'll be looking. So if you can't hear me well. Also, one more thing, I'm streaming on Twitter today. So it's the first time I try this. So let me know, guys, if you would like to see the stream on Twitter as well. Polo, you can hear. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's get down to it. Let's start with Bitcoin. I mean, all of you guys who have been watching the recent streams, you know that I've been stressing out that we needed to break out this level in order to confirm the uptrend. Now, we have two things to discuss here. One is theory and the other part is practical. Now, theoretically, if I was to look at this structure here, both of my conditions for reversal have already been fulfilled, which means this last piece of the correction here, this one, is considered complete based on my own standards. But unfortunately, the kind of movement that we have been having here, it's a bit concerning. Now, I'm not saying that things are going to drop down, but I have few concerns that I'm going to explain to you. The last stream that we did, we were right here at this point in time. And I said back then, if you remember, that in order, because the movement, the start of this movement is corrective in its nature. And if this part here was going to be considered a reversal, we need to see a strong movement from this point to the upside. This movement had to break the previous highs and form higher highs. So we were dropping down here, you see, lower high, lower low, until we got to this point. This was the lowest low. So we formed this high, but we failed to break the previous high. And this one failed to break as well. So I said at this point here, when we did the last stream, that in order for us to confirm the reversal, we will need to see the price move all the way in a strong non-stop movement in order for us to avoid the scenario of dropping down further from some point here. And that actually has started happening. So as you all can see in the chart, we have started moving impulsively in a really strong manner here, the same way I wanted it to happen. And as soon as we broke this resistance level, we got a confirmation of the reversal. So theoretically, from a theory perspective, the reversal is already complete. And for those who attend for the first time, what I mean when I say reversal, I mean two things. First of all, is that this corrective piece here was complete. And the second thing is that the overall correction, this ABC correction that have been going on since April of last year, have also been complete. Because this is a three-wave correction, if you do remember. This is a three-wave correction of this bigger structure that we have been having since the beginning of the cycle. This is the second correction. The first correction was here. This was the first impulse, and this was the second impulse. And as soon as this correction here is complete, we should get the third impulse in the structure. That should ideally go and achieve a new all-time high. So going back to this part here, theoretically, this has ended. First of all, because we broke the downtrend line of this last piece. This one. This was my first condition. And the second thing, we are now forming highs and lows in the opposite direction of this downtrend. So this was the last high we formed. Lower low, lower high, lower low, and so on. Till we got to this point. We formed the first high, we formed one higher low, and this is a higher high. So from a theory perspective, the reversal is confirmed. But practically speaking, this start of the reversal, it's not so promising, because if you look at any other point where we had a reversal after the end of the correction, you will see that the reversal is usually very strong. Like here, when we had this drop here. See, at the end of the first correction, see how strong was this one. But this is not yet the case at this point here. You can see the price is moving in a very corrective manner, and that's a little bit concerning. Now, I spoke about this before, and I told you guys that there is a little bit of chance that if this pattern here keeps moving in a corrective way, up and down and up and down, and keeps going this way, to some point here, it's going to drop down at some point. That's a possibility, because we are not yet moving impulsively. I was so hopeful when we first formed this piece here. But this last drop here has changed the whole story. So let's evaluate what kind of options do we have on the table now. Now, let's start with talking about the downtrend. We have no downtrend confirmed yet. This is just a pullback, because the downtrend will only be confirmed if this trend line here is broken. This was the first impulse of this piece, and the second impulse was right here. Even if we look at it in a different way, even if we say that this was the second impulse, and this is the trend line, so we still don't have a downtrend yet. we are still in an uptrend. The price have not broken the trend line yet. So from a downtrend perspective, we don't have any downtrend yet. But from an uptrend perspective as well, we are still not moving impulsively. And this piece here, this pullback, last pullback, is very concerning. So in order to completely invalidate the scenario of drop down, we need to see a continuation of this momentum here. If we manage to, okay, so the price, take a look now after this drop, after breaking the resistance, the previous resistance, it has turned into support. And I was hopeful at some point here that we are still going to go up. Now, if take a look at it, let's remove these few bars. So if the price stayed this way, this was a completely legitimate pullback. So I was hoping that we'll keep consolidating near this support because it has turned into support after we broke above it. And then at some point here, we'll continue going up. And that will give us a complete new uptrend. But after this drop down, now we're in a bit confusing situation. So what we need to see next for Bitcoin in order to invalidate or let's say push away from any bearish scenario. Hey, blessed my deals, how are you? So in order to push away from any bearish scenario, we need to see a strong momentum that starts maybe today, tomorrow, the day after. We need to see a strong momentum from here to the upside, similar to what we had at this point. Now, if we get an impulsive wave at this point here to the upside, we will still be in an uptrend. Now, if you look at it from a fundamental perspective, you can see that this drop down here, this dump in price, this is, if we manage to go down further, then it's a new bearish market. But if we don't, this is the bear's last attempt to push the price down. So this is the last squeeze. We have a fight right now between the bears and the bulls. So all of these impulsive movements in green here are the bulls that are similar to what I think, because I explained many times that this structure is still incomplete. We need to see a new all-time high for Bitcoin. So those who have the same theory of mine still believe that the price is going up and they keep on pushing the price higher. But there is bears that are trying to push the price lower. And these kind of squeezes that we have here are the result to this fight between the bears and the bulls. So this is a try to push the price and bring back the bearish market in order for them to get in cheaper prices, get a better positions, and then they push the price back. So this is the attempt. This attempt will completely be invalidated, as I spoke earlier, if we get an upside movement similar to what we had here. So if we see the price consolidate here, near this point, this is not moving properly. So if we see the price consolidate near this point, so it goes up and down, if we start seeing rejection here and buying power and some sideways movement, then at some point here we see an upside movement. This is going to remove all the concerns and take everything away. What's up, Ether being? So this will remove all the concerns. So that's what we need to see in order to continue saying that we're in a new uptrend, we're in a bullish market. But if this keeps going down, the next thing that you need to look for is a breakout of the trend line. You can take this one or this one. Either one of them works. So these are the options that we are looking at next. Now, if we take a look at this from a different perspective. Let's bring in the 50 and the 200 days moving averages. You can see that we haven't had a golden cross yet. And to those who doesn't know what a golden cross yet is, it's when the 50 EMA crosses above the 200 EMA. And that's usually an announcement of the beginning of a new bullish market. We haven't had that yet. Now, I was hoping when the price started dropping down, first of all, I was hoping that it will hold the support on the 200 EMA. But it ended up, this candle here screwed up everything. As soon as we got this bearish candle, it screwed up the whole thing. And the price was still holding till yesterday over the 50 EMA. But as you can see now, we're seeing a downside movement. Now, if the day ends up closing above the EMA, somewhere at 43,000, we have a higher chance of bouncing from here. But if we close below the 50 EMA, then the chances are higher that we're going to drop down from this point. Now, I want to speak about the overall market cap because, as I explained to you guys in multiple occasions, usually this is the one that gives me a clearer perspective whenever I'm not sure about what Bitcoin is doing. And from the overall market cap chart, things are much clearer. So as soon as the price broke this last high here, it came back for a retest of this support. So the resistance that we had to break was this one. This was the last high that we have formed. So as soon as we came and broke above it, this one turned into support. So at this point where we stand, if you take a look at the line, this, in addition to being the most recent high that we had, it also has some frequency to it because it was retested at this point and it was retested at this point too. And you can argue also that it was retested here. Now, I usually don't prefer to look at those as lines. I prefer to draw it as a zone rather than a line. So this makes more sense now. So you can see this one was retested here, was retested here, at this point, at this point, and at this point. Do we have anything beyond this? Yeah, that's it. So on the overall market cap, we are still in a good position as long as we maintain these levels here. If these levels are maintained, we are most likely going to consolidate in a sideways manner, so we could keep going up and down until some point here where we get an upside movement, as long as we maintain these levels. So currently we are in an undecided period. We need to see either a breakout to the top above this level, or we need to see the price go below these levels. So as of now, nothing is yet confirmed, but this is what I am most likely leaning to forecast, because you all know my opinion on the bigger structure of Bitcoin, how it is still incomplete. See this bigger structure, the WX, the 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We still need to get that new all-time high. We can't have this structure complete without getting a new all-time high and going up to break this last level here. Otherwise, this structure will be totally incomplete, and that can't happen. In all of my years in trading and doing wave analysis, I haven't seen an incomplete structure. But how is that going to play out? This still remains to be decided. So let's cross this period right now. Let's see what's going to happen today, tomorrow, and the day after. I think that we are most likely going to see some sideways movement here. So we're going to see some buying pressure up and down. Let's go to a smaller time frame. You see, every time the price attempts to drop down, we see some buying pressure that's coming in. So the longer this goes, the higher chances we have of going up at some point. But if we start seeing further down movements from here, then this is not valid anymore. So that's where we stand as of now for Bitcoin. What do you guys think about this? Tell me your opinion before we move into looking at my previous analysis. So this week is going to be very important for the overall market to see if BTC is going to go up or down. Yes, Hamza, that's correct. Because as I just explained, we are in an indecisive period and we need to see price action either up or down. I personally lean towards an upside movement very soon, and I hope that's what's going to happen, but never say never. Always stay open for possibilities. Blast my deals. Any chance of looking at XPR? Yes. Just remind me later. I'll take a look at it. So I just wanted to do a quick review on my recent analysis. So let's just take a look. Because I was just looking at some of them and everything worked out as planned. So for example, let's take a look at Mina. See, Mina is killing it. When I did my last forecast, oh, wait a minute. I did not share my screen. There you go. So when I did my last forecast for Mina, we were right here at this point. Let me make it a full screen. We were right here at this point. And I said, as soon as we break out the trend line, we're going to be in our uptrend again. And that's exactly what happened since then. Now, everything seems to be perfect. We have managed to achieve about 75% gain since then. And that's perfect. So we did not only break the downtrend line because the structures already complete the corrective structure. Let me take this away. So this was the corrective pattern that we had for Mina. And the ABC corrective structure is already complete. So we completed the structure. We broke the downtrend line of this trend. In addition to that, we have already formed a higher high. So this was the last high that we formed on this downtrend. And only 2 days ago, we have already formed a higher high. So Mina is officially in the upside, going on an uptrend. Now, at this point, I don't think that we're going to continue further from here because the price is exhausted. Right? It never goes in a straight line, especially after a correction like this. The price is very exhausted. So you could expect a pullback at any given point. Now, this pullback could go in so many different scenarios. We could just see a pullback and then continue going up from here. Or we could see some kind of corrective pattern, like one, two, three corrective pattern before continuing up, or we could see sideways consolidation. Regardless, whichever comes of those, we have to take a breathing space, because if we take a look here, the price is exhausted. It has been in the overbought area for a while now. So we can't continue going here forever. We need to see some kind of consolidation or a pullback before continuing up further. But if you were one of those who have entered in a position somewhere over here, good for you. You're in a perfect position. Okay, Catching King, I have a question. Do you prefer day trading or just investing? Now, these, Hamza, to be honest, these are two different things. So, I mean, day trading, I started as a day trader at the very beginning. So, I personally been trading for almost a decade now, a little less than a decade. And I started as a day trader. I did not take it as a full-time profession from the very beginning, but I took my time to learn and I screwed up so much in the beginning. So day trading is not an easy thing and it can't happen in a day or a night. You need to know what you're doing. You need to really be aware of the technical analysis. Regardless what kind of method do you use to analyze the charts, because there are so many different schools in the technical analysis field, and you can pick the one that works the best for you. Now, I have been exposed to almost all of them, and at the end, I managed to create my own way of analyzing the charts, and it's basically it's I did not create something new. I just mixed and matched between so many different techniques, in addition to adding my own touches to it, and I created my own style of analyzing. So if you want to be a day trader, first of all, it's very stressful because you need to go in and out every day. You have to dedicate time to this. It's not something that, okay, you can do it on your spare time, but it's not going to be as easy as when you do it as a full time, because you need to know what's happening on the market. You need to take a look at the charts, know when to enter, when to exit. You need to have a clear strategies for everything. So day trading, if you know your stuff, to give you the short answer, if you know your stuff and you know your charts, of course you can day trade. Now, if you're not well versed with all these techniques and methods, it's better if you go for the long-term investment so you can sleep at night. You don't need to worry about your investment and bother so much thinking what's happening in the charts. So you just take a look and pick something with good fundamentals, leave it for a few years, and then you're good to go, especially with the cryptocurrency. So let's move into the next one. So this was Mina. As I said to you guys, it worked very well. XEC also, it has killed it as well. So the last time when I did XEC analysis, the price was here at the second red candle. And also all the conditions are, wait a minute, I keep forgetting to share my screen. Okay. So again, XEC did exactly as forecasted. I did the last analysis here on by the end of March, and I said that we have already fulfilled all the conditions for reversal. Hi, Aaron. No jobbing, no shredding on these guitars. I wish, man. Okay, so going back to XEC. I said here that we have fulfilled both conditions for a new uptrend. We have already broken the downtrend of this correction. We have formed a higher high here, and you can see what happened. As soon as this pullback was complete, all the way from point quadruple 08 to 0.00016, 100% in a couple of days. And this was a perfect performance right here. Now, what's happening with XEC is that the price is pulling back towards the resistance. Now, this was a resistance here at this point. Now it has turned into support. So you see, we're starting to see rejection. Ideally, in order to continue going up from here, we need to see the price keeps consolidating around these levels, like go up and down and up and down. So some point here, we get another impulse to the upside. That's what we should look for next. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Telcoin. I did Telcoin a few days ago. Okay, so if you follow me on Twitter, I said right when the price was here on the 23rd of March, before even coming for a retest, I said back then that Telcoin can't continue going up further and will have to consolidate at this point for a couple of reasons. First of all, because we have this area here as a strong resistance. This is the strongest, it used to be the strongest support of all time. After we broke down below it, it's the strongest resistance of all time right now. So the price here was exhausted and we were facing this resistance. And I said, we'll have to consolidate sideways near this area. And that's exactly what you see is happening. So I did that chart on the 23rd of March. So the price went up and then came down and then went up again. Now it's going down. So we're consolidating. So as soon as we stay around these levels, even if we go down a little bit lower, it's still fine. But as soon as we are consolidating around this area, at some point here, we are going to see Telcoin go for the next resistance, which I spoke about. So we will see the price break this resistance and go towards the trend line resistance. And if this happens, as I explained before, I don't expect to face a lot of rejection at this point. So the odds are that the price would most likely be rejected, minor rejection here, or consolidate near the trend line, but then break it up and continue going. The only time that I could be concerned about Telcoin, as I said before, if we see the price drop down towards these levels, that could be concerning. But as long as we are consolidating near here, everything is on the safe side. So again, that's another one that went exactly as forecasted. Okay, so what else did I cover recently? So tell me, guys, how do you personally feel? Because that's important. How do you think the market, what's your guts telling you, in other words? Are you bearish or bullish? Chilies. Okay, so next up is Chili's. That is another one which was nailed as well. So the analysis was done right here at this point, and I said that we have already broken the downtrend line of this pullback, but we needed to form a higher high above this one in order to confirm the uptrend. So since then, you can see that the price came to break this high and form a higher high. So we are officially in an uptrend. Although we pulled back to this level right now, but this is still an uptrend. If Bitcoin manages to do the kind of movement which I explained to you about earlier, we're going to see the price come for a retest of the upper side. So Chile's is also playing out as forecasted. Now this is actually the funny thing, guys. This is very important. I needed to speak about that. When you look at the altcoins market, you get a certain feeling, and when you look at Bitcoin, you get a complete different feeling. So, as I said in the beginning, Bitcoin is playing around. This pullback is a bit concerning. But then go back again, look at all of these altcoins that I just looked at. All of them are setting up for reversal. Like all of them are preparing for a further upside and further impulses to the upside. And this is usually a good thing. Like, I've seen this in previous cycles. So when Bitcoin is not so sure and a bit concerning, and you see the altcoins are thriving and going up or preparing for going up further, in most of the cases, this ended up by seeing Bitcoin go up at some point and shoot. Joben, okay. Short-term bearish, mid to long-term bullish. Okay. I think we have hit double bottom now. We have last pullback and we will have a big pump in coming days. Double bottom, what are you talking about? Which one are you talking about? Next week we can have more upwards movement, held 52K. I don't disagree. I don't disagree, Kusa. I think that's most likely what's going to happen. Because take a look here. Let's go and take a look at the weekly candle. And this is what I like to do when things are not so clear. So the weekly candles still have 2 days and 6 hours to close, UTC time. It's different based on where you are. But for me, it still has 2 days and 6 hours. So a lot can happen in here. And most of the action usually happens at the end of the week. So today is, what's today? Today is Friday. Okay, so we still have Saturday and Sunday, and so much can happen in the weekend. So if we get that upside movement that I told you about, if we end up closing somewhere near the 45,000 during the weekend, so this whole thing is going to be just a pullback. Now, let me look for something similar to show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this whole thing is going to be something like this. So you see a couple of weeks of pullback, but then the buying power steps in and pushes the price up further. Because the candlestick pattern is very important. Now, if this week ends up closing with this kind of candle, that's definitely a bearish setup on the weekly chart. It's definitely a bearish setup. But if we end up having a long wick candle or a doji similar to this one, that's going to be just a pullback. So we still have a couple of days till the end of the week, and a lot is going to be decided by then. Okay, so let's move on. What do you guys want to know or ask me about? Because I know a lot of you have been waiting to ask me about different coins. Oh, I totally forgot about Lossless, my favorite project. So Lossless is killing it. Okay, now if you're a regular follower, you already know what I think about Lossless. I mean, I think if we end up being bullish and continue our uptrend, I think this is going to be one of the top gainers in this cycle. So I've actually posted a video yesterday on this one. I'm not sure if you saw that one or not, but we have a couple of important factors here. This downtrend has ended. We broke it here at this point. So this was the breakout. This correction has already ended. And the momentum is great. You can see, like, I was expecting a pullback at any given point here, but the price keeps going up and up further. And that means that we have way more buying power in the market and way more potential investors in lossless rather than sellers. So the next thing that we need to see a new higher high. The last high that we had was at this point here. And we still haven't broken that one yet. You see, the price attempted to do this today. If we go to the 4 hours chart, we already had an attempt here. But see, the price was rejected and fell down. So what we should be expecting next is the same thing that I spoke about in my analysis yesterday. Let's go back to the 1 day chart. See, the price is very exhausted in the daily oscillator. We'll have to get outside the overbought area. And this means that we are likely to see a consolidation here. We could pull back to any given level around this support, but we could see a little bit of up and down before attempting to go up further. Because we need a breathing space. We can't just keep going up like an arrow, just straight to the top. That can never happen. Now, everything in the market is not guaranteed except for one thing. And this thing is that the market always moves in waves. That's the thing that's 100% sure. So you can't tell if this support is going to hold. You can't tell if that resistance is the strongest among them, or if we're in an uptrend or a downtrend. The only sure thing is that we will always move in waves. We'll always go in an impulse and get a correction, and then another impulse, and then a correction, and the impulse, and so on. The same way on the downtrend. Impulse correction, and so on. And that's why I love wave analysis. Because if you can understand these waves and their mechanics and how do they play out, you have an edge to everyone else. If you know what kind of structures and patterns are there in the market, you are most likely going to have a more accurate prediction than most people. Of course, in addition to other things, but that's why the wave analysis by itself is important to me. Because you see, I don't only use wave analysis in my analysis. Uh, by the way, Lossless is doing exactly what you said. Hope we can reach 2 digits in the next year. I think that's what's most likely going to happen with Lossless. So the project has so much potential, Hamza, and it kind of reminds me of similar projects when I first spotted them. Like I spotted Telcoin back in 2017 before it was even known to anybody. I saw Veracity right when it first started. The same thing with other coins who did like massive gains, like Dent. I know Dent now is not the same like before, but I did spot it when there was an opportunity. And with all of them, I saw certain factors that align together when it comes to the vision, what this project is going to achieve, what they are planning to do in the future, or when it came to the fundamentals of the project, the team that's working on this project. So a lot of things were aligned together, and I got the same exact feeling with Lossless. So when I first saw Telcoin, Veracity, or even Cardano when I first saw it, and then so when I look at Lossless now, I kind of have the same feeling about it because everything's aligned in place. First of all, it's a great product. It's an attempt to do something that haven't been done before. I know it may go against the whole concept of decentralization, like, all the transactions are not reversible, and once it's confirmed, it's confirmed. But it's still a great thing, like adding this layer of security to all of these coins that are using lossless. This is something that's very important for the overall crypto as an industry. I was someone who suffered from things like this. I got hacked and a lot of my portfolio was lost. And my life changed dramatically because of this. So I think this is very important. Not only it's going to keep the project safe, it's going to save people from losing their own money. And in addition to that, look at the team. They're hardworking. And the market cap is very low. So all of these factors combined together, I think, in my opinion, I'm not giving you a financial advice here, but my personal opinion says this is a recipe for success. When you show, okay. When you show us those charts, could you do the Fibonacci level projections of what price could be in the future, like you did yesterday on video of Lossless? I could, Kosa, but the thing is, I avoid doing this when the market is a bit concerning, like as I explained earlier. So once we go into a full bull mode, once we are completely bullish, I will do this projection. It's so easy. And we can look at these levels and see what is the potential of the price, of how much we can go next. But at this point, it will just be me like doing these moon calls. And if you are watching my analysis and following my videos, you know that I like to stay objective and keep a window for possibilities. Always, I like to stay open for possibilities. So once we are completely bullish, I will do projections. Trust me, for not only lossless, for all the other coins that I'll be analyzing. But at least I need to be 100% sure that we are going in the right direction to set some kind of targets. Otherwise, I'll be misleading you guys and misleading everybody else who watches me. What are the projections for TEL and TRIAS? I spoke about TEL earlier. Okay, let's look at TRIAS. I haven't looked at it in a while, but last I looked at it, it was doing really well. TRIAS, one of those projects that, oh, look at this. It's perfect. You couldn't wish for more. So, first of all, we are in an uptrend. And TRIAS is doing way better than most of the projects that are pulling back so hard because we don't yet have a rejection here. From what it seems to be, that after we have ended this last piece of the correction here, so the ABC, the bigger correction, this ABC, should be considered complete right here at this point. Which means on the bigger structure, that if this was the first impulse and this was the second impulse, which is our ABC correction, then now This movement here is the beginning of this third impulse. And this third impulse on the bigger structure should break the previous all-time high. All-time high was around $31. And now we stand at $6. So that's about 500% from now. So let's go back to the chart itself. Take a look at what's happening here. So we broke this resistance, and now the price, similar to what Telcoin is doing and to what Lossless is doing, it's taking a breathing space. See? It's overbought, has been overbought for over a week. And that requires us taking a breathing space. So you could possibly see a little bit of back and forth here. At least few more days before seeing the price continue up further. And you see, this is exactly what I meant when I told you guys about the difference between the altcoins and Bitcoin. Like, when I look at this chart, I mean, this is a perfect buy setup. When I do look at this is a complete perfect buy setup. Like, the last piece of the bigger correction has ended. We broke the trend line. We're on our way up again, and we're doing a pullback. So as soon as this pullback is complete, I personally would enter here. I'm not telling you to enter yourself, but I personally would enter this. And this is the same when you look at most of the altcoins. But you look at Bitcoin, it doesn't look good. But look at the altcoins, everything is preparing for a further upside movement. And let's hope this ends up the altcoin way, not the Bitcoin way. Yes, AMD. Trias, as I am telling you, it's in a perfect condition. I mean, I couldn't wish for more than this. I think as soon as this pullback here is complete and the price exits the overbought area, this one, as soon as this one's complete and we get outside the overbought area, the next breakout is going to be big. It's going to be massive. But let's first see what's going to happen with Bitcoin. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Soul Razor, SOLR? Low market cap, close to initial offering. Do you mean it's live yet, or is it live yet, or let's take a look. I mean, if it's not yet live, I don't know. I need to take a look at it. Okay, this is it. Okay, 100 million Kucoin Gate.io. How old is this one? It's 5 months old. It will be hard for me to tell now. I need to read about the project and see what they do. It's designed to be the de facto fundraising and developer platform for projects built on Solana, aiming to support the growth of DeFi, NFTs, and Web3 applications that can scale. Okay, fine. From a chart perspective, I would not forecast anything for a chart like this because we don't have much history to tell here. And that's my problem with I know like a lot of people think sometimes that I don't want to answer their requests, but sometimes there is no data. And in order for you to analyze charts and be able to forecast what's going to happen next, or at least give few possibilities, it's very important that you look at the history. And when you don't have so much history and data to count on, that's going to be hard. Would you be able to have a look at idea? Is it a good time to buy more? Or I mean, Job and I won't be able to advise you on this because I said this multiple times. My analysis is meant to pave the way for you guys and explain to you the different possibilities, but it's not meant, as mentioned here at the bottom, like it should not dictate what you are doing with your own trading. Like you can use my analysis to enlighten yourself and have a better idea about what's going to happen next, but the final decision should be yours. Don't let anyone ever tell you what to do with your hard earned money. Okay. All right, guys. So I guess this is it for today. Thank you so much to all of you for sticking in and coming to one of my other streams. Now I have more time. I'll be able to do more live streams. So next time we'll see. Maybe in a few days I'll do another one, and we'll have a much clearer picture about what's going to happen next because Bitcoin will definitely have told us what's the next move going to be. So thank you guys to all of you for coming to today's stream. This was me, King, and until next time, stay safe and see you later.